Didn't really change between those two.
They didn't. Are you sure?
If it's on, it's on. Let's go. Good morning, guys.
Says it's
Happy
on.
let's go. This is our 30th episode. Huge milestone here at Bitcoin Q&A.
We made it. We have arrived.
We made it. We've arrived. Well, no, maybe after the 100th we'll have arrived. But we're getting traction. Go to our YouTube and check out some of the shorts. We got some good clips that are getting a little bit of attention, which is nice. How you feeling today, Q?
I'm exhausted.
How's the bear market treating you? It's not a bear market.
I wouldn't call this a bear market. First off, I'm just pissed that there are no cheap sats left. I'd be down for another
dude. Anything on 100K
run.
Yeah, I would too. But anything sub 100K feels pretty cheap to me. Feels like a steal. I had someone tell me yesterday that the ETF's gonna bring the market cap to 10 trillion, and I was like, "Well, that'd be nice. We could all retire. Don't have to wake up at 6 and do a show anymore."
Dude, could you imagine?
Yeah.
That's
like a 16.5x. That's insane.
I just, that would be really great. That'll be really nice. But it's not gonna happen. And
how much liquidity do you think this ETF is going to bring into the market?
I think the amount of liquidity it brings in still needs a time horizon to be answered properly. And I think the best example, and I've seen it used a few times, is when the gold ETF came out, the price of gold shot up that night. It took about, I want to say something to the tune of like 16 or 18 months before the price of gold really started to go up after the ETF was released. My expectations are something in that vein, which coincidentally, if we see the ETF get approved, I don't know, in January, 18 months after that is like roughly 14 months after the halving. So
yeah, that coincides with like the historical bull cycle as well.
So I don't necessarily think that, and that's almost why I kind of want to say, like, I don't think the price is going to shoot up so drastically when the ETF comes. Whether it's just due in large part to the fact that, most people at this point are expecting the ETF. Like, if the ETF were to be announced and approved today versus if it was announced today that the ETFs are all rejected point blank, the percentage of the price movement in the positive move up if the news ETF was approved versus the amount of negative price movement if it's announced the ETF was gonna be rejected, it would move down significantly more than it would move up, which tells me that like some of this narrative of like, oh, we're getting the ETF is like starting to get cooked into this. It will still bump up during that news cycle. It is not fully baked in. I'd say it's like a medium rare right now, baked in. For some of you, that's good enough.
Oh, it's good enough. People are definitely latching onto that hopium. Hey, I've got one quick note. Check if we're live on Zap.stream. I don't see it. I don't think we're going through right now.
Oh, show's canceled.
Yeah, let me hit up Carnage.
Well, it's one of those days where Zap.stream doesn't want to load for me, so I guess like what I'm really doing is just dragging my feet to get to the point of what I'm trying to say, which is ultimately we're just like in the thick of it and there's nothing going on to the point where like Do you want to just play this? Should we play this clip while we keep trying to figure this out?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
Tito,
just hit.
can you run the clip for us, please? Roll the tape.
A showstopper, at least from Gary Gensler's point of view, is he thinks Bitcoin can be manipulated. And, this is a decentralized, transparent network. You can follow all the activity online. It's highly unlikely.
It had to be that because he understands, Kathy. He's got enough. Not many people do. A lot of people don't have enough knowledge about how it works to make an informed decision about Bitcoin. He taught at MIT so he understands that it's not a Ponzi scheme or a Beanie Baby. Right. So there has to be something else.
Well, I don't know what it is. I have wondered. There's speculation that he's interested in the Treasury Secretary position at some point. What does the Treasury Secretary do?
Protecting fiat for the government?
I mean, very focused on. I don't know. I don't understand it myself because he definitely understands.
He understands. So there's something else.
There's something.
Okay,
else.
but
the showstopper.
So, I don't know. Did I miss it where she like alludes to the green energy stuff? She didn't say that in that clip, correct?
No, but that's kind of her.
Her
forte,
there's a longer interview where in that interview she essentially alludes to this idea, and this is not the first time I've heard this. You know who Jason Brett is?
Yeah.
So he brought this up, that there's an element of Gary Gensler's going for higher office. He doesn't just want to be the chair of the SEC. Like, he probably wants a shot at being the Fed chair or the Treasury Secretary. Like, he has aspirations for higher office. And whether he knows it or not is irrelevant, because the people who make the decision on those types of jobs believe that Bitcoin is bad for the environment. And you're at this point where this is something that I think, and I believe I'm in this camp as well, that believes that Gary has this mindset of, if I approve a Bitcoin ETF and Biden is the one making the decision on whether or not I could be the next Fed chair, it'll be used against me by Democrats when they say things like Bitcoin's bad for the environment. Why would you approve this ETF? Do you even care about the environment?
Or it's used to fund World War III, or any number of narratives they'll easily just swing against him there. But I think he is vying for that position of higher power in government, but I don't think, taking a couple advisory or chair roles on huge crypto companies is off the table either.
I mean, I think that's a weirdly separate beast. That to me is just called hedging. Like a smart man would work at Bitcoin Magazine, be the host of Bitcoin Magazine Live, and then back the job up with like multiple job offers from other places, whether it's at Bitcoin companies, crypto companies, or tech companies. You would just sort of like have the safety net. The priority would be go back to a Bitcoin company. But if you can't do that, you maybe go to a crypto company or just a different media company in general. Gary Gensler.
Are you announcing that you've joined Kraken or Coinbase here?
No, Rizzo won't hire me.
Oh.
No, just kidding. I love you, Rizzo. But like that's the joke. It was yes, obviously about me, but it's more just this idea of, to be honest, I just really take this as like Gary's just being proactive. Like, he knows he's not going to be the SEC chair forever. And so as a result, it's like, all right, well, maybe I'll keep working in government. If I want to keep working in government, I need to do these type of things. But if I want to go to the private sector, I should leverage these contacts in this way.
Not a new play by any means. This is the status quo. I mean,
but like, I can't fault the man's hustle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the type to hold your hustle against you. Unless you're selling fentanyl, then you're kind of an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Kathy Wood. I think she makes like her discernment on a lot of this ETH stuff is pretty terrible, but she's in it for the bag. So she has a fiduciary responsibility to return value to her shareholders, and she goes after it when she sees it and does a pretty bang up job overall. So kind of hard to fault, but I don't know. I find she plays it super safe. Super safe, very well media trained woman, I'm not like it's never like earth-shatteringly like insightful commentary from her side.
No, but most of these people at this point, like, you're not getting that. I think she falls into the same category, and by no means do I think she has the resume to compete with these names. But I think the millennial generation, like our generation in particular, is really more or less like really attracted to her investment strategy, the businesses that she likes to invest in, what she's sort of saying. So she has a huge fan base, and people will trade off of what ARK is buying or what she's saying. No different than like if Stanley Drunken Miller says he likes something, or Michael Burry says he likes something, or like Chamath Palihapitiya, like very famously was like sharing his trades, and then he like had to say on the All In podcast, he's like, dude, I had to stop because all you fuckers who are listening will go and try to copy my trade and then get mad that it doesn't work for you. And it's like, because I executed the trade a week before I'm telling you about it. So I think there's an element where she kind of recognizes the influence she has over the market. And you automatically have a target on your back if you are talking about Bitcoin in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Alex just really misses everyone on Zap.stream.
I'm freaking out. I'm sad that we can't get our feedback here on Zap.stream. Let's see. Looks like overall though, the sats have been flowing on Zap.stream. Love to see that, man.
Well, that's wonderful.
As a creator, I mean, we've made like 1.5 million sats or something like that.
Wow, so I should have 500,000 sats. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. In your savings account, Q, it's growing. We'll put it in a CD for you. We'll use it to purchase those bonds that flopped at auction and transfer them to your father in your name for a couple of years.
Okay. Yeah.
Or maybe I'll donate them to Carnage to fix Zap.stream today.
Okay.
So I've got it would be better if we were live on there so I could announce this, but we really want to add like a call-in component to the show where people can leave voice messages, especially noobs, as we get into this new bull market. And we'll call it not financial advice, but they're asking questions about what they should do. Q and I respond, giving them really good or really poor advice.
But we want it to be like anything. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin.
We'll do your funnier relationship advice too.
Dude,
yeah,
it becomes so much funnier if you guys ask us to like do your taxes or relationship advice.
Yeah, there we
go.
I
think the line that needs to be understood by the audience. If you ask us about Bitcoin, we'll take it seriously. We will give you good answers, good responses. Definitely. Everything else, we will give you a nugget of information and then troll you with the rest of the answer. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's up to you to sift through the signal there for sure.
But you want to know how to get more write-offs on taxes? Go burn down your local IRS building. Duh.
I think I had a question about taxes for you actually on the show today. Oh yeah, what strategies? So I was trying to, like, in anticipation of people writing in and calling in in some kind of theoretical world where we have an audience, I had chat.
People actually,
yeah. I had Chat GPT spin up some questions because Chat GPT finally knows about Nostr. So this question is not about Nostr, but it asked, what are the possible risks and rewards of investing in infrastructure around decentralized platforms like Nostr, and how might Bitcoin's performance influence these investments? So a little bit of a venture question. Oh fuck no! I asked you the wrong question.
I was about
What
to say, I was like, that
strategy?
has nothing to do with
That
taxes.
is not. That was not the right question. What strategies? I can't read and think at the same time. What strategies should I consider for managing tax implications of buying and selling Bitcoin, especially with changing tax laws? I was like, oh, this is a perfect question for Q, our resident tax advisor.
I would just like, my approach and my thought process is genuinely like, you cannot forget that whatever profits you show in your Bitcoin, and that's an important barometer, because a lot of people who are, class of 2020 or class of 2019, and for most of class of 2020, you've got some pretty solid gains. Like 2020, you're up 200% on average, depending on when you bought it, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But like, if you made 6 figures this year and then you want to sell a whole Bitcoin, you have to add 20K almost. Let's say you bought at 15K, it's at 35K. You have to have tax on that 20K additional. Now, look, if you're, I don't know, retired or didn't work for more than half the year, whatever, and your taxable income is very low, it actually doesn't hurt you to take a little bit of profits. Your tax threshold will be under 30% for the most part, depending on, again, your tax situation. Just look this stuff up. I haven't sold any Bitcoin for profit, nor do I intend to. But I think a lot of people who do
Wait,
it.
you have never sold Bitcoin for profit?
No, I wash traded a little bit.
Interesting. Just to that like $4,000. What is it, 6 or 3? What's the threshold on wash trading?
Well, the rule is it's not to do with wash. Like, wash trading's not allowed, but you can do it with Bitcoin. But the thing is, if you can only take, I believe it's like $3,000 worth of losses, but
As a
you can
write-off.
roll it over. So I think I took something to the tune of like $20,000 worth of losses.
So you have sold Bitcoin
for a
That means
loss.
you sold a shitload of Bitcoin. Yeah.
For a loss, but I buy it all back, and then as a result, though, like I
For a
have
deeper
this,
loss.
I have all of this. Well, technically, no. Technically, all of it that was repurchased is all in a heavy profit right now. Because it was like I
So
essentially.
why did you sell that much Bitcoin?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Not publicly.
To give you a new
no,
foot.
there was like
After Corey broke your foot, you had to.
No, there was like a legitimate thing going on that I needed to raise cash for.
I feel you. I've definitely sold Bitcoin. I sell Bitcoin fairly often. People give me shit for it, but I'm in the green. I'm happy. I use it to make more Bitcoin, so.
I saw something that said estimates that about 80% of all Bitcoin wallets are profitable right now.
Dude, yeah, it's going up. I saw it cross 50. I didn't realize it was at 80. By wallets, you mean just addresses
Yes.
with Bitcoin in them? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel that on my side. Like, most of the Bitcoin I have hasn't moved in like 4 or 5 years. Like, it's just deep cold storage. And anything I'm fucking around trying to trade with or buying options with is like, it's like it's like a very small percent of like play money. But yeah, the way to go is definitely cold storage, just because I think in society in general, we're, at least in the States, we've really shied away from savings as a practice, because our money isn't a sufficient tool to do that. Our money is not money. And you're getting debased. So you're getting punished for holding capital. So what you get is this weird, I think this is actually the consumer capitalism culture that all like the young, like 18 to 25-year-old socialists are protesting against. They just don't understand it. What they really mean is like, I'm poor, help me. Like, why do I have to spend money on everything? Because they don't have a mechanism of savings, or they don't realize that they could through Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of valid arguments that like, that's a terrible narrative. Bitcoin isn't a store of value. Look at this, you're down 90%. Fair enough, but like, what is your time preference? Like, it's all relative, right? If it's more than, you used to be able to say 4 years. No one that held Bitcoin for more than 4 years was at a loss, but that's not true anymore. So you got to extend that maybe a couple more years. But I don't know, man. Savings to me is like indefinite, put away, rainy day money. Like, it's not like I'm going to save this for a year and buy a car. Like, that's not really long-term savings, and that's not where you're going to see this like exponential growth, and where you're going to get real kegger on what you're holding. And that's really the name of the game, like compounding annual growth rate, letting your money work for you. That hilarious saying just comes from this. And I think,
Whoa, does not come from this.
I think it does, dude. In Bitcoin, like, that kegger compounds and compounds. That is literally your money working for you, just like any investment.
Money working for you is like a long established, thought through phrase that has been shared in financial circles for generations.
No, it's
long
trite.
before Bitcoin.
I know. It's trite. It's annoying, but I don't like the phrase, but this is one example of it, is simply saving. When you actually have, when you're rewarded for the savings, when your investment appreciates, and that's what Bitcoin is ultimately. I mean, it is an investment. Like, you are making a trade to hold Bitcoin.
Yeah. I think there's an element of a lot of this that just people are too short-sighted. And frankly, I would challenge people that if you're worried about how much you're going to sell your Bitcoin for, like, you still got some work to do. That's sort of my line.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, think about how we opened the show. Like, you're never going to get away from that, dude. Like, everyone on the planet is taking their Bitcoin and multiplying it by their theoretical price that they think it'll achieve in the next year, because you have to financially plan on some level. I mean, the ideal, I think, for like someone just entering the market is get to a place where like you have the savings if shit goes sideways, you have rent for a couple months for the first time in your life, get to a comfortable place and don't fuck it up there. That's when the saving really begins. And that's when you're going to start to actually feel this low time preference, long-term savings appreciate. Hopefully, I mean, maybe Bitcoin will stay at 35K for till the end of time. I wouldn't hate it, to be honest with you.
I would.
You'd hate it? You need that number go up?
I mean, like, I would have a lot of questions as to why we're just like chilling here.
I don't know, man. It's a pretty niche, complicated technology.
I don't know if I would just like willingly roll over and accept that.
Well, it's definitely niche. It's breaking into the broader market, but people don't see it for what it is. They see crypto, crazy volatile investment.
Sure.
But they don't realize that their holdings in dollars is also a very volatile, debasing asset. And it's like an instrument of theft. It's an instrument. It erodes the very like psychology of young people today, because they can't save. They've never known savings. They don't believe they have the capital to put things away into other assets, or to trade out from this dollar system. And therefore they're living life high time preference. Like you said, they don't have enough foresight to think more than Like, I remember when I was like dead broke for like most of my life, but you don't really think out a couple months. Like, you can't financially plan. Um, yeah, when you're on an inflationary treadmill, you can't think into the future. You can't. It's hard to envision things. And that's like the biggest psychological turn that I think people benefit from Bitcoin is if they manage to hold on to, a couple sats for a couple years, they start to understand, okay, this is a behavior that I'm rewarded for. This is it's a psychological shift. I can think further into the future, I can plan, I can make better decisions, and I can forego consumption now for consumption later, rather than let's spend all the money now and work off a credit based system to try to keep afloat. Um, I'm interested, Q, what kind of place do you think debt will hold in a future where Bitcoin is more of a household instrument?
Debt will
Or,
always exist. There will
well,
be
yeah.
there will be a debt system created within Bitcoin. I think the simplest version is like you'll just see more advanced discrete log contracts, DLCs,
Mhm.
that will fulfill sort of what that looks like.
Don't you think the government's going to come in and try to
Oh,
meddle with
100%.
those?
It's
Right.
going
I
to be
mean,
something like, oh, you know, it's for your best interest. Like you don't know how to properly hold on to your Bitcoin. You don't want to lose that. You should. We have trusted people and businesses that we approve of. We, the government, who knows best for you.
yeah.
And you should use one of those to better assess and know how to keep your Bitcoin safe. It'll be that in fewer or more words.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be you're holding unhosted wallets in your head, aren't you? You're
Mhm.
you're hiding Bitcoin. Um, I don't know. I think they're gonna. I really worry about the future of development on the protocol because the incentives are not good. It's like you need to work in total anonymity or face eventual imprisonment indefinitely. I mean, I think they're going to go after people that are building these smart contracts as well. Scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but I really caution Bitcoiners who sit there and celebrate Richard Hart getting served. Even like
Come
if some
on, bro.
dude, like you
The
and I,
world is rejoicing.
you and I more than most, okay, have reason to like truly celebrate this, and we do.
Because he
We
defeated us in a debate 2 years ago.
whoa, whoa,
He
hang on, hang on,
slaughtered
hang
us.
on,
He
hang on,
slaughtered us live
hang
like
on,
pigs.
hang on. So he beat Svetsky in a debate that I moderated, and for whatever reason, you were
Oh, I
not
got so
involved.
pissed. I was
You
not invited to the debate, but I got
you
pissed, bro.
literally were not on camera.
Yeah,
You joined the Zoom
thank
call
God.
on your phone, and I kept trying to DM Chris, like, take Alex off. Like,
No, you didn't.
I did. I
No,
was
you
getting
didn't.
so mad at you. I was like, dude, you are making this worse.
No, I made it better. I made the views go up. All press is good press.
Okay. Okay.
We need to just let that video die.
Uh, I thought I would never fucking die, but it did.
It sort of. I still get a bit of it. But you can't give health advice and look like that guy. I'm sorry, you can't. Or psychological advice would be a fucking sociopath that's stealing millions of dollars from people. um so all right, let's go back to, well, I don't feel like you necessarily answered this. Like, what are the strategies people should consider? So, what you would boil it down to in terms of taxes in the US is right now, if you don't sell, you're in a good spot. You don't know any long or short-term capital gains. So
I
it's
mean,
like,
dude,
just hodl. This is the hodl mentality.
I am holding out hope that Bitcoin becomes some sort of acceptable currency within the United States. I have a very low likelihood that that happens, but my hope is something to that vein, because that means that I don't have to pay any taxes on Bitcoin gains. And that would be incredible, because let me tell you, if I lost half my stack to Uncle Sam and in my lifetime, Bitcoin
I'm going
became
full Mad Max. Full.
dude.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you know where I'm getting to with this. Like, oh, I had to give half of my Bitcoin to you.
But people will.
People will.
They do this every day. I mean, this is you're
But
working 4 months out of the year for the man, you know?
you only work 4 months out of the year.
Far fewer than that, but I'm saying that they take 30% of your value on average. That's 4 months.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I was like,
You know
wait,
what I mean?
how the heck do you only work 4 months out of the year? Teach me
Well,
your ways. It's
you
like
you
better.
put
It's better than the four. What was it?
it is, dude. The Bitcoiners work on you know, we do the 1 out of 4. We've got 1 year of real growth and productivity and celebration, 12 to 16 hour manic days, and then we take a vacation for 3 years and go to each other's conferences and like each other's tweets. That's the career of a of a Bitcoiner.
Conferences are very important, though. Don't forget.
Are they though? Is there any other industry that loves their conferences as much as we do? Like,
Dude,
every time my family has to go to a conference for work or something, they only complain about it. I don't think they're very much fun outside of Bitcoin. I've been to one other conference. I went to the first ever David Foster Wallace conference in somewhere in Illinois, Normal, Illinois, or something. So it's all Bitcoin and Nostr.
One of my best friends, who I travel with a bunch, the last couple of times I've literally gotten to see him are because he is flying into the city, either the city I live in or the city right next to me. And his conference is like Monday through Wednesday, but he'll fly in on Friday and we'll get to see him for the weekend. And it's funny to your point, because he's like, when I take him to the hotels or when he's headed off to the conference, he's like, no, I'm going to work right now. Like, I got to be in work mode. He was explaining to me like his coworkers that were coming in and what they were trying to do and all this stuff. And I was like, man, when I go to conferences, the only reason people hit me up is because they're like, hey, where are you? I want to smoke weed.
Yeah, that's about the gist of it. Yeah, it's not really even about the content. It's more like an excuse to get together and hang out. We're all good friends. We have trouble in normal society. The autists, they don't do so well. It's hard to communicate with regular people when you've seen what we've seen, man. Conspiracy theorists.
Should we answer more Bitcoin questions?
Sure.
Was that sufficient enough for your tax strategy?
I was hoping you'd get more into the nitty gritty, man. I thought you were going to tell me how to really evade some taxes here. I thought you were going to tell me that I should never sell, leave the country.
I mean, I did
lose all my Bitcoin in a boating accident and then have it miraculously.
No, those are all
charitable donations show up at my doorstep several years later.
Those are all because you'd have to pay taxes on that charitable donation.
No, because you've left. You've cut ties.
No, see, like
this is finding a wallet on the ground.
That's bad advice. Bad advice. Don't do these things.
That's not advice. That's what I thought you were going to tell.
Although I am going to go boating this weekend, so maybe I will bring my Bitcoin.
It's not a bad strategy. I mean, yeah. I've actually never had a catastrophic loss of Bitcoin. I've lost a couple thousand sats here and there because like wallets lied about what they were.
I didn't back up one hot wallet that had like $300 worth of Bitcoin. That's probably worth somewhere closer to like 600 now.
Nice. I had lost a lot of sats with Moon Wallet. was pretty frustrated with them. All their language is self-custodial. They're not, in fact, self-custodial. If you don't follow the standard practices, you're not self-custodial. Get the fuck out of here. If I have to send a transaction to access my own money, yeah. So we avoid those. They're good learning lessons.
What's
though,
your
but
favorite hot wallet that you like? Wallet of Satoshi?
no, I don't want to get canceled, bro. That's not self-custodial either.
Right, but
I
like,
do. I really like. I do really like Waldo Satoshi. I was using it during the show to send someone a tip, but it's fast. It's convenient. I don't store anything major on there because I don't know how it gets backed up. You know, I don't. There's no process for that. It's just
nor
quick
should
and easy.
No one should have a majority of your Bitcoin stack in a.
Dude, nothing I would even think twice about if I lost. Like I empty that thing like all the time. But it's nice to you know, the LN URL is nice, the custom LN URL is really nice, you know. Connecting it with, I was helping someone set up their Nostr Lightning wallet yesterday. It's good for that. But I also really like Zeus, man. You can do most of these things with Zeus, you know, a lot more self-sovereign. It's getting good. I can't talk about my other secret favorite wallet that's not released yet that I've been using, but
I need to tell Evan to send me the beta for Zeus. He was supposed to.
Zeus is out. What do you mean the beta?
Oh,
You can download Zeus.
I mean, I talked to him like months ago.
V2, the next version of Zeus. They're doing like a whole rebrand. They're making it cool. But no, Zeus is fantastic when paired with Albi for Nostr wallet management. I love it for that. But again, try not to keep too many big sats on there. I guess I'll say there are some interesting wallet integrations coming to Nostr clients that are like mind-bogglingly simple. And the UX is like these are elite senior developers that are just like, you don't need all this bullshit. This is what you need. Send, receive, track record of transactions. Here's your balance. Like beautiful, beautifully simple. So I'm a big fan of that.
All right, here's an interesting thing that I'm just scrolling through notes right now. If I could change the conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry, I realized you were about to go on a rant.
No, yeah, that's all right. Shut it down, man.
No, go.
Save the people. Save the people. No, that was just a rant. It's just I'm excited for the client wallets that are coming to Nostr, and people like having on be like, oh, they're custodial. It's like, guys, not everyone can come into this space and be completely fucking self-sovereign and debanked within a few months. Like you need stepping stones to get there, and you have to make the sexy, seamless apps and integrations that abstract away what Bitcoin really is. I mean, this is why I'm such a big fan, you know, of the future of the Bitkey, something like this. I don't think, yeah, there's a potential for people to get wrecked there, but I'm not recommending that's the be all end all. You have to constantly upgrade your security and your UTXO management. And that includes trying a whole suite of products and services and seeing what works for you with small amounts. And doubtless you have to aspire to get on the level of running your own node. I think it's super important, not necessarily for Lightning, but your own Bitcoin node for sure. So you can surf a iteration of the mempool and yeah, manage your stack with like a modicum of privacy. There's no be all end all solution. So please don't take any wallet endorsements as like, this is what they said I should use. No, I'm just saying try it with a small amount just so you know what it's about. It's important to support Bitcoin builders in any case. So it's nice to try all their stuff. I think you're on mute, my man.
For the best, but the important thing that you said there is just this idea of there's no perfect wallet solution. And those of you who whine in the background, oh, that's not pure enough, or that's not this enough, or that enough. Okay, cool. Go build it yourself. Because I'm getting really sick of the Monday morning quarterbacks of, well, that's not, it's go build something before you whine about what other people have built.
Did you see my thesis on the 3 categories of Bitcoiner that we have now?
No, I didn't. But can I
Okay,
guess them? Can I guess them?
Sure.
Okay. So we have OGs. Is that
Yep.
a
Nope.
okay? No, it's not a category.
Nope.
Okay, builders.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
builders. I'm gonna go and say whiners.
You got balloons for that. No, not
Okay.
in those words.
So we've got, but like a synonym of whiner, like crybaby.
Not even.
Okay. A little bitch. Sorry.
Yeah, those are the 2 classes of Bitcoiners. It's builders and little bitches.
Which honestly, you could probably put most people in those 2. Like I categorize as a little bitch. So
no, you got to
try.
wrap your thesis in something fun. I mean, no one wants to be told they're a little bitch. So,
Are they like toddlers?
no,
Sheep? NPCs?
that should be one. I mean, that does encompass. That's more the ethos of one of them for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to count builders, NPCs, and then I don't know. It's either TradFi or miners.
No. All right, I'll give them to you. So the 3 types of people in Bitcoin are builders, or people who are building Bitcoin businesses, like real businesses and services. Pirates, people like us who exploit the ecosystem for value without building or contributing in any way.
Just talk about what other people build. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. We extract value without giving any. And then noble retards, which is people who just it's just people who humbly stack Bitcoin and are along for the ride. So we probably fall into that category too. So there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah, you need a whiners cat. I'm sorry, but I don't accept these because you need a category for like there are
no. But the whiners are forgiven because they are nonetheless Bitcoiners. So we just write it off. Mental retardation write off.
No, because what you're not considering, and you can disagree with me all you want, but this is human psychology. What the whiners create is they create a negative force field around just development of Bitcoin tech. I'm not so much worried about Bitcoin. You know, we talked yesterday, like what would you change? Like very little. I'm more worried about like layer 2 solutions, layer 3 potentially solutions on Bitcoin. So I firmly believe that all of these miners, like builders are always going to build, but when you start to sow doubt in what these builders do, you take away some of their creativity. You take away the luster to take added risk that could benefit all of us because we're not thinking about that thing and we're
not
missing
if they're good builders though.
If they're good builders, absolutely. Like they will still build. But like I'm sorry, but like I'm not willing to let like little bitches who are like perpetuating cancel culture like continue to operate in that way. I'm just not willing. Quit being a little bitch.
I'm more of a free market guy. People are going to do what they do. The majority of people, this is why democracy doesn't work. It's like,
I don't disagree that people are going to do what they do, but like there's a level of, I think, like almost pride that Bitcoiners have about like their level of critical thinking and the way that we, can think things through and the way we see the world. And I also kind of recognize that like we're the minority of Bitcoin holders. The vast majority of Bitcoin holders are like your cousin or like your random friend from high school who bought some Bitcoin on Coinbase and has it still on Coinbase and is like waiting for the day to sell it for dollars. That's the majority of Bitcoin holders. Like we are a minority. So if we are the minority, like why are you guys the ones who sound stupider than some of the fiat cucks?
Well, first of all, I don't think that all the people that are in the group are necessarily with us in terms of self-custody, as evidenced by father-son taking trip to El Salvador, have not managed to self-custody their Bitcoin properly. I mean, that's when you have like $1 million of value and you haven't evaluated your self-custody or, done any sort of risk assessment on it. That's a huge red flag. I mean, that shows me that there's got to be a lot more of those people. I mean, there's people. I don't want to name names, but there's like main stage speakers at these events who have never bought or held Bitcoin, who can talk about it, who understand it somewhat, but they've never taken the steps to self custody, and that's like a huge that's like a huge red flag for me. Um, so we've got to. I mean, I was saying this the other day. It's like put your oxygen mask on before helping others. I kind of agree with you. It's like stop whining, stop chirping at the builders, like get on our level, get your setup right, whatever works for you. But you should be challenging yourself to always improve it. And then make constructive criticisms of the space around you if you're seeing things that you think actually haven't been seen. And there's like ways that are helpful to give feedback and there's ways that are not. And the easy way of, hey, I want attention because this founder DM'd me in a way I don't like, or they're, just like calling out people on Twitter, like you said, the cancel culture of it. Inevitable as we grow. Inevitable. Because that's just the kind of soft state our society's in. As we bring more people into this market, the signal's going to go down, unfortunately. But we have a great opportunity to amplify and lift up those that are spreading viable ideas and products and services and actually trying to help people, you know? But it's tough times ahead because I agree with you. I think a lot of people, especially after this ETF, are going to be captured. I mean, there was someone ranting in my replies about orange pilling a bunch of purely anecdotal, just orange pilling a bunch of people is the number one priority, and they don't have their cold storage figured out yet, but no big deal because they're orange pilling people and businesses, and that's what counts. And most of their Bitcoin's locked up in an ETF or elsewhere, a custodied exchange. But it's not a big deal because they're out there orange pilling people. I'm like, dude, this is just virtue signaling. Like your actions are useless because you're gonna get wiped out and lose everything, you know, if you're not taking the proper self custody steps. Like I really feel it is like that serious, and it's that that extreme. Like it's really take accountability for yourself and your finances and self custody your Bitcoin if you can, or slavery, surveillance slavery. Be beholden to someone else, get disenfranchised, get rugged. There's not really a much of a middle ground there in my eyes.
Like I said, man, stop letting these little bitches get away with it. I'm glad you've come around after that rant.
I don't. Well, it's not that, but I'm not gonna go police people either. I just ignore them.
I'm not
I don't
saying
want to
we need
tell
to be the
anyone what to
police, but
do.
like as I'm I'm not gonna go slide into people's DMs. I'm not gonna even engage with the tweets that I see.
Right.
But it's more of a like just to have this conversation out in the open, I think starts to set expectations is like the wrong way to phrase it, but it's what I want to say. But it does help to almost like it's like a healthy way for the network itself to like check itself. Like, hey guys, you sound retarded right now. Like
There you go. Category 3. It's easy. It's just to group them like sheep.
all right. I wanna for our last 10 minutes, I was perusing Noster and Odell sent out a tweet and I didn't get it, and then I scrolled down a little more and then I got it. So you're obviously familiar with like Odell's very anti paying for verification on Twitter. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't, the cognitive just
bear with me though. So you're aware of that.
Yeah.
So Nikki Haley, who, if you are not aware, running for president of the United States.
Yep.
Sure. But I feel like, all right, I'm not gonna say it. She yesterday on Fox News started talking about how every social media user should be verified, and we should have a system to verify everyone on the internet. And so Odell sort of began laughing about this idea because it's like, I warned you guys, like,
oh, we all did.
Big tech is not anything more than just an extension of the government. And we are starting to see and have our values sort of tested. Do you think that people will even care enough? Or do you think this will be another example of almost like the lockdowns? Because I don't think this will become like the Republican candidate wants to do this and then the Democrat candidate is taking. No, I actually think social media will be an issue that both sides will strangely agree on, not from the aspect of they want the same things done, but from the aspect of they want the government to be able to influence and control social media. And if they could legitimize that control happening, both parties are all for it. They may want it for different reasons, but at its core, all they're talking about here is having the power consolidated into the hands of the government. So Republicans or Democrats are both going to vote for that. The question is whether or not people akin to what we saw in 2020 when they said stay home, like
we don't want to stay home, we want to march for BLM.
Man, I just want sun. Leave me alone, bro.
What's the question?
Like, will people just like bend the knee and do this?
Absolutely. It's a trade-off that we're very used to making. We've been tempered this way. Take all my data, but I want convenience. I want the fastest, sexiest applications possible. You know, take my data, but make me famous. That's the trade-off that people think they're making. Or give me a chance to garner attention, or at least a little dopamine drip. The people are junkies. And it's no good, man. People gotta actually consider this, because they don't think about it at all. They just sign their life away with each of these applications. And the beautiful thing about Nostr is, you know, many of these clients, there's no data collected on you at all, like for real, nothing. I mean, the things you do on the platform with the identity and the reputation that you have there, that's on you. That's public. It's gonna be hard to erase those from relays. But I think the point is, like, my problem with Odell's argument is actually, one, it just like sounds good. I mean, it's one of those things that Bitcoiners rally around, is like, let's hate on something. Let's hate on some people. Let's scapegoat some people. It's a like classic bear market strategy to gain attention. I'm not saying that's why he's doing it. I'm just saying it helps. It surely helps amplify the response and the commentary. But if you actually just think for 2 seconds about the logic behind it, it doesn't make any sense. Because whether you're verified or not on Twitter, and I'm not defending verification. I agree with him that you're complying, in some very small way, perpetuating this surveillance state. But it's not verified users versus unverified users. He's making an excuse for himself using Twitter. Like, you're on Twitter, motherfucker. Like, you are contributing to this problem by virtue of your interest in the platform and by using it. If you actually believed and wanted to take that stance, delete your fucking account. because all of us are guilty of using these platforms. I mean, for the most part, actually, I take that back. There's a lot of Nostr users who are like, I'm done. Nuked the Twitter. Beautiful. That is a stance. No, refusing to get verified and getting like, terrible engagement is just you kind of fucking yourself on the ability to talk about Bitcoin to a large audience. I mean, it's a fake rebellion. It's senseless. He's never, I've tweeted this argument to him dozens of times. He's never once responded to it. It's too crazy. Even Jack Dorsey agreed with me. Like lots of people are like, yeah, it is actually the whole platform. It's these centralized platforms that don't give users choice. That's the issue. Like, this is like the one significant choice Twitter has offered, like verified versus non-verified. There's not going to be a choice in the future. You're going to have to be verified to use the platform. So why don't you make the decision now if you want to participate in this expansion of like citizen surveillance or not? So I think yeah, I mean, I think it really does come down to that. It's like, where are your interests really? I'm not going to like blame anyone for what their decision is. I just think it's silly not to point out the contradiction here. Like, the problem is that we don't have open protocols. We do now. We have Nostr, but the majority of people are not using protocols. They don't have algorithmic choice. Their data is completely captured and sold out and, farmed from them, and they're being used for ad revenue models and subscription service models. And so we need a viable alternative. So that's why Nostr. But I'm about free choice, man. I'm not going to tell people what they should or shouldn't do or make them feel bad because they still want to participate in conversations that are not about Bitcoin and Nostr on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not content on Nostr to keep hundreds of millions of people entertained. Like, I'm not even fulfilled there. If I was on Nostr all day, I would just not be online. Like, I just wouldn't get news, I guess, because the slice of the pie that we have right now is so small. And that's not to be bearish on the tech. It's growing, but the first step is not rebel against blue check verification. You can do that if you want. Fine. Nobody cares. The first step is like, you need to make the people around you aware of the fact that they have choice now. You have a choice not to trade off all of your privacy for a little bit of convenience. And we have a responsibility to make that stuff less rough around the edges and easier to use so that they can be used to that smooth, perfect experience. And the transition isn't as mind-boggling to them, because the minute they approach friction, like, nobody has time for this stuff, man. They're not going to spend years kind of learning and trying this software as we have. You get a couple shots, like a couple touch points, and it's going to take, just like we talk about with Bitcoin adoption, it's going to take a while for people to get there. It's going to take, I was talking to like Phil Zimmerman the other day, the inventor of PGP, and he hadn't even heard of Nostr or used it yet. And I was like, dude, this is like pretty huge. It's like right in his wheelhouse. And there's some things that, maybe he could offer good suggestions to fix, like some things about Nostr. So I guess I just mean to say we have a long way to go. And the call to action right now is not forsake your old life and, cut yourself off from everybody in the real world that It's like, no, spread adoption and show people how you're thriving, and they will want what you want, and give them touch points and easy access to these open source protocols, Bitcoin and Nostr, and the pie will grow. It's growing at exactly the right pace. There's no reason to rush it or go to war with what has captivated people's attention and mindset. You need to kind of attack it from the inside. I mean, that's what Bitcoin Twitter is. Like, we're bringing the signal to the enemy and infiltrating them from the inside. That is the right approach in my mind.
Fair enough. I feel like it's a great place to sort of wrap up for today.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it, man. Hopefully Zapdot streams back tomorrow, man. I really missed out on streaming there today. We'll see what Carnage says, but Yeah, cool. Catch you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern.